So industrial and office are the
Right.
two primary sectors that you kind
Although
of
I'm
have
doing
focused
more,
on.
I'm doing more apartments. When Maxine Clark and the CRG people started the Delmar Divine project in the city on Delmar, just a little bit east of de Bolivar, they needed some help, and I came in and helped take that project across the finish line. So it's up, 100% leased, both the apartments and the office, and we're looking at doing the last phase now. So I'm doing more apartments along the way. I've learned how to do HUD deals. I don't know if you're doing HUD deals. I hadn't done it before. They're interesting. So, I may do some more apartments. I don't know.
So when you say HUD deals, you're referring to big A affordable housing?
Actually, it doesn't even have to be affordable. HUD has a loan program that is pretty attractive. If you can get it underwritten properly, the government, backs the loan. So when you go to sell the paper to bring the money in the door, it's pretty economical by comparison. It's going to be the best rated paper that you can get. And then HUD turns around and they will allow you to finance it over a 40-year period of time. So it brings your payments down versus a 30 or a 25-year. And it just makes the project more able to underwrite. And that's any new project that they'll approve.
Got it.
Doesn't need to be affordable at all.
So we haven't done any HUD deals, but we were close to pulling the trigger on a HUD deal. Ended up backing out because of where rates went. This was maybe 3 or 4 months ago, but have done Fannie and Freddie deals, which are somewhat similar. Just you can't stretch out the amortization as much. Those are 30 years.
Right.
So on our end, typically what we'll do is we'll finance the acquisition with a community bank.
Right.
And then once we have the deal stabilized, we have the NOI where we think we can take it, then we go Fannie, Freddie, or potentially HUD.
Yeah, and that's one way to do it. But the other thing that HUD will do is they'll actually finance the construction too. And you can lock both those rates when you close on the construction loan.
How are you typically financing non-apartment deals? Are you working with community banks or is it some other sort of financing?
If I can work with a community bank, I will. They're better relationship people. They're much better to deal with. But most of them can't do the size that I need. And so I either have to find a partner or a participant, or we just have to go somewhere else. In today's market, traditional banks are really not stepping up right now. The Fed and the market has seen to it, the liquidity is gone. I mean, if you think about the last 10 years, when was the last time a bank asked you for deposits? Now that's all they're asking for because they don't have readily available funds to lend without turning around and borrowing it. And that's not a good situation for a bank to be in. So everybody's looking for deposits. So it's hard. And so we're doing other different things. We're looking for more joint venture partners. We're looking for debt service funds that are foreign market funds that are different. And that's just where you are right now. And the other thing is, as I said, we're just not doing as many deals to start right now. We're queuing ourselves up to do some more. But to go back, if I could do every deal with one of my local community banks where the relationship's so great, I would absolutely do that.
So you say like the community banks can't necessarily do your size of deal.
Yeah.
So with your size of deal, that's what opens it up for like some of the debt funds and things of that nature because they can put more money out of the door and it's easier for them. Is that right?
Well, so banks are highly regulated, lots of rules on how they can loan money, and they do have limits on lending based on their assets, right? So a lot of these little local community banks, they'll have a max lending of somewhere between $10 and maybe $20 million. So if you've got a project that needs $50 million, it just doesn't work. The debt funds, on the other hand, are generally not banks. They're generally not regulated. They're private equity of some sort or another, and they can make up their own rules for whatever they want to do. And so it's just different. I don't know how to say it any other way. The banks, on the other hand, do have, and I think want to help the community that they're in, where the debt funds are pretty agnostic about it. But you got to do what you got to do if you want to make a deal. If you've got a really good fundamental deal, Raj, what I would tell you is, if you go looking, you'll find the money, both the debt and the equity that you need. You will.
So find the deal first and find the money later.
I don't know how to find the money if I don't have the deal. I don't know what to tell these guys I'm going to do with their money if I don't have a deal.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. When you were like early in your career as an entrepreneur, so not with some of the companies you've worked with or partners you've had, did you find it hard to get the capital in hand to make the deals happen?
Well, I got to tell you, the 80s was such a different world. It was so less regulated. I mean, Raj, I will tell you, back in the 80s, if I had a good deal, I could go to closing. I could borrow 110% of cost, and I could pay myself the full development fee on the first day I closed. You couldn't do any of those things today. None of it. You could do it without any equity. Not anymore. So it's just a completely different world. So the answer was, at that particular point in time, no. They were more relationship, reputationship oriented, and the reputation was good, so you kind of got to do what you wanted to do.
That's fascinating to hear. And if that was the environment, why weren't more people active in?
They were. In fact, so many people got active that blew up in their face, and that's when we had the crisis of 88 and 89.
So they essentially, folks.
Everybody thought they were a developer, and guess what? They weren't.
Right.
It's a very complicated business, believe it or not.
So they stopped looking at fundamentals, and they were essentially just looking at the fact that they can borrow.
Hey, there's a deal. Look at that pro forma. It's beautiful. Pro formas don't do deals, but it was beautiful looking pro forma for sure.